Hello students, welcome to AKSIAS. On this 24th of May 2026, preliminary examination has been conducted and majority of the students have given it. And we know that the paper is bit weird and it is unconventional. Many students got this doubt from where UPSC is asking whether we have to change the resources or not, or which book we have to refer. So here comes our analysis as far as economics is considered. This is Dhanunjay Reddy, Faculty for Economy at AKSIAS. So in this video, I am going to show you how many questions are asked in UPSC 2026 from my subject, that is economics. How many questions we have discussed directly in the class. I will show you with the proof of the photographs that we have taken in the classroom discussion and how that can be helpful for future. This is just an indication to show that AKSIAS is in track and it is much ahead of other institutions in calculating, in visualizing which questions can come from examination and how you have to go forward. So let's begin our discussion. So this is economic questions from our classroom discussions that we have conducted in the last 1 year for various batches at AKSIAS, and we will look how questions are asked. So let's begin with the first analysis. So the total number of questions that were asked are 18 in economics this year. And I said to my students that more or less this is the total number of questions that will be asked every year. So it will be between 16 to 20. This year they have asked 18. The total number of questions or themes, topics discussed in our class is 14 questions. And we can challenge you, go to any institute, look at any book in the country, altogether in the country, this many questions will not come from one source. This is what we are good at. Percentage of questions discussed in the classroom is 77.77%. Now you have any doubt, have a look at what are the questions that we have asked and how we have discussed it. There is a question on NBFC topic. They asked NBFCs cannot accept demand deposits. All the NBFCs operating in India have to be registered with the RBI. NBFCs form part of the payment and settlement systems and can issue checks drawn on itself. Deposit insurance facility is not available. These are the 4 options that they have given. Now, what is the proof that we have discussed that in our class? So if you have that, have a look at it. This is our classroom chart. We have said NBFCs are regulated by different regulators. Direct question. They are not covered under DIC GCIL. We have discussed in the class that they have asked. And then they can only accept time deposits. This is the thing. So 3 options they have given, exactly the same thing has been discussed. Go for the next question. Multidimensional poverty index, they have asked the question. It is calculated using Alkire-Foster methodology. It is calculated by Niti Aayog and it has 12 indicators. Maternal health and bank accounts are common indicators in MPI and Niti Aayog and MPI of United Nations Development Program. This we have discussed in the topic of poverty in our class. Have a look at that analysis. This is again the chart that we have discussed in the classroom. Look, I have given this multidimensional poverty index India, Alkire-Foster method. This is what directly they have asked. Niti Aayog, what I have given, for India there are 10 parameters of UNDP plus 2 more parameters, 12 parameters. And what I have written, in the health there is maternal mortality and in the standard of living bank accounts are extra. This is the question that they have asked directly. All the 3 options from this chart itself. So this is what you find again in this discussion. So this is again a question that has been given. Now let's go for the third question. There is one third question that is called crowding out effect. This is the question that they asked. Which one of the following best describes crowding out effect in the context of fiscal policy? This I have said in the topic of fiscal policy itself. What is the impact of fiscal deficit topic in the class? If you look at it, this is the flowchart that we have discussed. Impacts of fiscal deficit. What I have given while discussing this, I have explained to my students that if you are borrowing more, it is going to lead to crowding out effect. Here I explained what is crowding out effect. The same thing was asked. 3 questions directly they have picked from the class. And then look at the 4th question. Blockchain technology is the question. Records to store in database may be made visible to relevant stakeholders without the risk of alteration. Copies of the entire database are stored on multiple computers and a network synchronizing within seconds. Consortium blockchains is a blend of public and private blockchains allowing selective database access, and mathematical algorithms make it impossible to change or delete any data once recorded and accepted. This is what they have given. Now we have discussed blockchain technology in my discussion of virtual currencies topic in the class. Have a look at it. Digital or virtual currencies. What I have written? I have written bitcoins. This year they have asked a question on bitcoins also, and they have what I said here. In the classroom I said bitcoins based on blockchain technology. Look at what I have discussed in the classroom. We have discussed that it is emerging database, and I have said that it has wide applications. It is decentralized platform which can be used by different people in the country. So with this we can eliminate that. So again, this is directly from our topic. Next, going for the fifth topic, Sagarmala infrastructure topics in the class. So Sagarmala is the question. I have taken infrastructure. We have discussed this in infrastructure component. So this is the classroom topic where I have discussed about Sagarmala. So in the classroom discussion, we have explained what is Sagarmala, why government is doing this Sagarmala. That is the question that they have asked directly here. What is the question? Though the question appears to be quite large, whatever we have discussed in the class, that was repetitive here again. Sagarmala program seeks to achieve port-led economic growth through cost-effective and sustainable coastal infrastructure. This is what I have said. Sagarmala is like garland for the sea, and it is like garland for the entire country. So it is looking for the development, port-led development along with the community development. The success of the Sagarmala program is reflected in the significant growth in the coastal and inland waterways shipping along with the improved global port rankings. Yes, this is also correct. And then Sagarmala 2.0 aims to position India as the global maritime innovation hub aligned with Atmanirbhar Bharat vision of 2047. All these are correct. This is what they have given. So this is again discussed in the class. The next topic that we have discussed that has been asked is Strait of Hormuz, and they are asking which of the following countries we come across when we are going to come through Strait of Hormuz. Now where we have discussed this in our classroom, I have discussed a topic known as maritime transportation. This as a part of the so-called global economic institutions and the so-called multilateral institutions. I have come across this. This is the photograph I have used, and I have explained how shipping will happen at the maritime. So this is Gibraltar. From Gibraltar, if you want to come to the so-called Indian Ocean, I have said that you have to cross Suez Gulf, and then you have to come through the so-called we have to come through Hormuz, and then from Hormuz you can connect. So one is Bab-el-Mandeb that I have explained, and Strait of Hormuz is another thing that we have explained, and I have stated in the class one of these two questions can be asked, and they have asked Strait of Hormuz. And this is also discussed lately. This is because this is a current affairs bit due to the so-called Iran war that is going on. This I have said, they have asked it. So again, we are much ahead, and we have that vision of expecting which questions can be asked in the classroom from in the UPSC. Now look at this beautiful question: unified payment interface and central bank digital currency. They have asked you this question, and they are asking you to compare with it. And in my classroom, this was discussed as a part of evolution of money. What is the proof? Look at it. This is my class notes. In money and money supply, I have said that there will be definite question on central bank digital currency, and we have also discussed as a part of evolving money supply digital payments, which is unified payment interface. In this discussion, I have said you what is unified payment interface, what is the speciality of it. We have given the examples of the Phone Pay, Google Pay, whatever you are using today, and I have compared with the so-called central bank digital currency. Right, I have given the examples by taking the so-called currency notes, and by keeping it aside of the UPI, we have discussed this. So direct to question they had asked. This is another question. Look at another question that they have asked. European Union question. Which among the following are the members of European Union? This we have discussed again in multilateral institutions, economic institutions. And this year I have said that this is going to be a definite question, because this year for 2026 January 26 celebrations, who has been the guest for us? It is from European Union. So this is expected question, and this was discussed in the classroom as a part of evolving multilateral institutions. Look at this. In this flowchart itself, I have said the founder members of European Union is Germany. Germany is present right from the beginning. If you know that Germany is a part and parcel of it, then without knowing others also, you could be able to land into the answer. Germany is a part. Look at the options, only one is given. So there is no other three. So answer is 2 and 3. So this is again from classroom discussion directly. Next, rain-fed area development program they have given. What they asked? Which among the following are the objectives of rain-fed area development program, which is an initiative under National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture? Where we have discussed this? I have discussed this as a part of agriculture, irrigation and cropping patterns topic in the class. Now have a look at it. So what they have said, the first topic that they said is, it encourages monoculture in rain-fed crops. In the monoculture, this is the monoculture topic discussion that we had in the class. Here I said what is monoculture, when we can go for monoculture, what are the disadvantages of monoculture, and I have explained to the students that if UPSC is saying that if they are going to promote monoculture, that will be wrong. So that option is immediately wrong. Then the second thing that they have given is the so-called increasing rice cultivation in irrigated regions. In the different crops and cropping patterns, I have said that rice is one crop which requires highest amount of water. Rain-fed means it is depending upon monsoons. When rainfall is very less, how can you grow rice? So option 2 is absolutely wrong. So from these two discussions, you can eliminate it. I have also discussed this rain-fed development program as a part of irrigation in the classroom. So again, this question can be directly asked from our class notes of AKSIAS that we have discussed in the class. Now look at the bonds. They asked a question on bonds, and I said this as a part of financial instruments topic in the class. This directly I said, a bond whose proceeds are used only to finance or refinance a combination of both environmental and social projects is called what? I said bonds will be named after the so-called the particular project. If it is environmental bonds, environmental projects, they are called green bonds. If it is social projects, they are called social bonds. A combination of both they ask, it is sustainable bonds. And we have discussed sovereign bonds. They are the bonds issued by government for any purpose. We discussed these three, a combination of these two is this. Now what is the proof? This is our financial instruments topic in the class. Here I have given traditional investment options, bonds. In the bonds topic, I have said that there is social infrastructure investment funding. Here I have said about different types of bonds that is there, and they have asked this question. The next question that they asked is Hilton-Young Commission. Where we have discussed this? We have discussed this in the evolution of RBI topic in the class. But with our discussion, we will be eliminating two options, and we will be landing with two options. The artificially fixed rupee sterling exchange rate prescribed by the Hilton-Young Commission in the year 1926 was adapted by the British government for which of the following purposes? The answer is obviously A, aiding the flow of remittances. Now where we have discussed, I said this is our topic, evolution of RBI. In 1926, Royal Commission on Indian Currency headed by Mr. Hilton-Young has promoted central bank. This is one thing that we are getting. In this discussion, you have to couple this discussion with the so-called balance of payments discussion that we made in the class. Why we go for the so-called fixing exchange rates? There I have discussed this topic again. So a combination of both will make you to answer this question very easily. Again, our students should have answered this very easily. Look at next question. Financial Inclusion Index. Again, I said this in our class. These are the functions of RBI topic in the class. They asked which one of the following represents the key sub-indices of Financial Inclusion Index of Reserve Bank of India. Now look at this. This we have discussed as a part of functions of RBI, where I said there are promotional functions. In that promotional functions, RBI gives reports. In the reports, I have made you to write a list of reports, and that list of reports they have asked the question. And we have pointed out in the class that definitely there is going to be at least one or two questions as far as reports is considered, and they have asked it. And look at the next question. M1 exchange. Which of the following statements about M1 exchange role in MSME's financing is correct? They are asking MSME's financing, how M1 exchange is going to help you. Now we have discussed two topics here. In the stock market topic of the class and MSME topic of the class, we have discussed this. Have a look at it. Which one of the following? Right. So look at it, what I have said in the topic of MSMEs. I have said that MSMEs are facing some issues. One of those issues is financial constraints. To overcome that financial constraints, they have come out with PM Mudra, and they have launched one portal known as Trades Portal. Now Trades Portal is one thing which is working on this M1 exchange. Now you have to couple this with the so-called stock markets, right? So M1 exchange has been discussed as a part of this discussion. We can eliminate the options if you have heard to our class. Next one, green hydrogen, where I have discussed this clean energy topics in the class. This is a part of mains discussion that we have did. They have asked green hydrogen, which is correct, which is incorrect. So have a look at our topic. I have discussed this as a part of energy, where I have said there are conventional energy sources, non-conventional energy sources. The latest non-conventional energy source is green hydrogen fuel. In this discussion, I said Government of India has started National Green Hydrogen Mission, and I have said what is green hydrogen. That is what they have asked, and what is the aim of green hydrogen mission and how they have to come. So like this, if you observe the questions that has been asked this year, ladies and gentlemen, out of 18 questions, out of the 18 questions that they have asked, we are proudly saying that 14 questions have directly come from our discussion. Normally my approach will be to make sure that all the questions will come from our class notes, but this time you know how the paper is. It is random paper. Even in this random paper, where the questions have been out of convention, where the questions have been so weird, if this is how we have approached, you can expect in the normal paper, definitely all the questions can be from our classroom discussion itself. This is what it makes different from our classroom discussions and from the rest of the classroom discussions in the country. So this is how we have provided. The material will be uploaded to you, and all the students of AKSIS, I hope that you have performed decently well from our discussion as far as this is considered. And one more thing, UPSC Prelims 2026 topic was done. Key was announced just now. What will be the cutoff? The cutoff will be not more than 76 to 78 this year also. If you have did these 14 questions correctly, definitely you will be in the list for the mains. This is how we have to approach economics, and this is what we are doing at this institute. So keeping you or wishing you all the very best. We'll meet soon with our classes, and we wish you to follow our classroom discussions as far as the topics are considered. Take care guys. We'll meet you soon. Take care.